You're on WCAUAM. What do you want to talk about?
Real Chris Columbus fan.
Really?
Let me
Chris Columbus, well, the reason I ask you, you're confusing it, I guess,
with young Sherlock Holmes.
And also, Chris Columbus also wrote Goonies, and he wrote Gremlins.
Okay, well, what I want to do is tie it up with Gremlins.
Okay, because I forget his first name, but the last name is Duke.
Joe Dante directed.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that was the connection, so right. I got the Chris Columbus connection confused there.
Okay, and the writer of Explorers, once again, his last name is Duke. I don't remember his first name at all. He plays the teacher in the film, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
But I love Explorers because it really is a film that uses, lets you use your imagination. And I know it's a silly idea, but the reason that it works for me is that these ridiculous kids up in outer space have the same dreams that we do down here. They still want to get to another world, and they enable Earth kids to get up there. And I loved it. I really did.
Yeah, well, plus the way it faces the issue of culture dissemination is very nice.
Right.
It's, I think there was an article in American Film or Film Comment too long ago. Someone commented that he was with a bunch of kids at a screening of this Turkey with Richard Gere, King David.
Right.
And at one point, the Ark of the Covenant appeared on the screen, and all the kids together said, "Gee, I know where they got that from."
Exactly.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right. Exactly.
And that whole business of how these things are transmitted is very interesting.
Right.
And that was a nice sub-theme of Explorers, and it was done with such feeling and such exuberance that it was very nice to see it.
Yeah, it's a shame that it came out in the only summer that I can remember when there were so many teenage science fiction films that they just blew each other away. For instance, I don't know how many of you here have seen My Science Project, or if you have seen it, I don't know whether you can distinguish it between Weird Science and Real Genius and My Science Project. They all sound the same, and they're not. Weird Science is a terrible film, and Real Genius made a couple of 10 best lists, and I thought it was one of the worst pictures I've ever seen in my life. So, 11210. Morning, Bob. You're on WCAUAM. How you doing, sir? Bob, come on in.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, sir.
I called. I wanted to ask you about, those movie posters they have outside the movie theaters? Can you buy them anywhere?
These days, you're probably not going to have too much trouble buying most of them because in the 30s and 40s, they were printed up by the thousands. They were plastered all over town, put on billboards. As a matter of fact, all the way up into the 50s, one of my nicest memories of the middle 50s was seeing 24 sheets or billboard posters from the world's worst movies, awful Jeff Chamber pictures like Yankee Pasha. These days, when you go to a movie theater, you're lucky if you see one or two posters, right? And they used to have posters of a lot of different sizes, 22 by 28s, 14 by 36s were called inserts. One sheets are 27 inches wide by 41 inches high, 6 sheets, 24 sheets, 3 sheets. Anyway, I grew up basically doing what you're talking about, going up to the manager and asking them what he did with the posters afterwards, and they almost always told me exactly where I could go. And National Screen Service, which prints most of them, is not allowed to sell them to individuals. But these days, movies are so popular, despite the slump this year at the box office, that they are making a lot of them available. For instance, on Gremlins, or Ghostbusters, there are duplicates or reproductions of the original movie posters that you can buy in most decent card stores. What are you looking for specifically? Something old?
No, it's pretty up to date, I guess.
Like what?
Pretty up to date.
Okay, like what?
Like, Ghostbusters or something.
Yeah, Ghostbusters you shouldn't have any trouble finding at all. There are a couple different versions of it, but yeah, they started doing them actually back in 1977 for a picture called, you should pardon the expression, Saturday Night Fever. That's the first time they decided to actually go out and print up copies for people on the streets. And mine wound up in the street, by the way. All right, sir? Bob?
Excuse me?
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to pardon me. I'm having trouble seeing what's going on here. But listen, thank you for calling. It's nice to talk to you.
Okay.
Bless you, sir. Good night to you. We're here on WCAUAM. We are talking about movies, and once again, if you'd like to join us, I can hear you now. Ooh, okay. The sun just came out. Ah, okay, listen. You said you were bored to death. What? Hang in there. You still with me? Ron? Ron?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
You said you were bored to death by it. Very, very quickly, why were you so bored? Because nothing was happening as far as you were concerned?
There was nothing going on. It was just too cliche, and there was nothing fresh about it. I just think it takes too long.
Okay.
I don't think it really works as a film.
I'm assuming that you have not read the book.
No.
Okay, I haven't either. When I went to see the film, I was expecting something monumental as far as the acting is concerned, of course, because of everything I'd heard about Whoopi Goldberg and the other members of the cast, like Danny Glover. I was also expecting, as far as the storyline itself is concerned, a great deal of suffering and a great deal of growth among the characters, particularly Celie. All right?
Yes.
Now, the first 20 to 25 minutes of the film are pretty devastating because of the cruelty involved and because of the enormity of what Mr. does to Celie. Everybody on WCAUAM, if you have been listening for a while, you notice that I'm giving you the time for the first time because I can see the clock now. We're here at West Coast Video in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Come on out. The crowd is getting bigger, or I'm getting smaller, so come on out here. And if you can't make it out, or even if you can, dial 839-1210 in Philadelphia and the suburbs, or in South Jersey at 541-1210. And we'll talk about movies. Bob, let's talk about movies. You're on WCAUAM.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm so glad, and Michelle, I'm so glad your father is better.
Oh, thank you very much, Bob.
You're taking here out there. I'm so glad everything is working out fine.
Thank you.
I'm also glad that I wasn't there when the lights went up.
Well, actually, there's a kind of a silly film with Doris Day called Where Were You When the Lights Went Out? And it's based on the premise that evidently during the blackouts or the brownouts in New York City back at the, I guess what was it, 67 or 68, 9 months later to the day, New York City had a population explosion that was enormous. And the picture's not great, by the way, but nice idea. Actually, why am I saying that? I was just kidding you guys. Others here, I guess they seem to be reasonably well. Yes, they also have their clothes on. So, yes, sir. Hey, Bob. Well, same thing, Bob.